So let me guess, you trust your school textbooks. Cute. Because the truth is, half the stuff we were taught about history is either wildly exaggerated, oversimplified, or just straight up academic fanfiction that got printed in a hardback and never questioned again. And hey, not blaming the teachers. They didn't write the lies. They just inherited them. Like historical hand-me-downs. Here, kid, this is wrong. Pass it on. So today, let's ruin some childhood lessons. Ready? Good. Because this is history facts we all learned, but aren't actually true. First lie. Napoleon Bonaparte was short. Yeah. Laugh it up. Napoleon complex, short king syndrome, all that. Except Napoleon wasn't actually short. The man was about 5'6" or 5'7" tall, which in the early 1800s was basically perfectly average for French men. So why did he get roasted for being tiny? Two reasons. One, British propaganda. The British hated this man so much they basically turned him into a cartoon character before cartoons were even a thing. Two, measurement confusion. French inches do not equal British inches. People translated his height wrong, and suddenly he's a garden gnome with an empire. And also, he liked standing next to his tall elite guards, which is like standing next to an NBA player and then wondering why you look like someone's lost little brother. So yeah, Napoleon wasn't short. History just needed a meme. Next lie. Vikings wore helmets. No, they didn't. At least not in battle. Because you know what horns are? Handles. Easy handles. Congratulations, your battle helmet is now a convenient grip for your enemy to yank and break your neck. Smart. The horned helmet thing actually came from 19th century opera designers who wanted Vikings to look extra metal for stage drama. Real Vikings wore simple, brutal iron helmets. No decorations, no fancy cow cosplay. Because if you're raiding monasteries and stealing goats, you don't need fashion, you need vision and oxygen. But here we are with Halloween Vikings looking like angry cattle farmers. Next up, Christopher Columbus proved the Earth was round. No, he didn't. Everyone seriously already knew the Earth was round for centuries before him. Ancient Greeks knew, Islamic scholars knew, medieval scientists knew. Columbus wasn't fighting idiots who thought that the Earth was flat. He was fighting people who knew math better than he did. Because Columbus thought the Earth was smaller than it actually is. Way smaller. Like, oops, I almost sentenced my crew to die in open ocean smaller. And if America hadn't happened to be in the way, he wouldn't be remembered as a brave explorer. He'd be remembered as a cautionary tale with bones at the bottom of the sea. So no, he didn't prove the Earth was round. He just got lucky that there was a surprise continent to crash into. Literally. Next lie. The Great Wall of China is visible from space. Nope, it's not. Even astronauts have confirmed this. From low Earth orbit on a clear day with perfect lighting, sometimes you might barely notice it. But from the moon, no chance. You can't even see highways properly from there. The Great Wall is wide, not bright, and space is big, like ridiculously big. You're trying to spot the Great Wall from the moon is like trying to see a shoelace from a moving airplane at 30,000 feet. Good luck, eagle eyes. Next lie. Witches were mostly burned at the stake. Wrong again. Most people accused of witchcraft were actually hanged. Burning was used more often in mainland Europe, while England and America preferred hanging, which is still horrifying, by the way, just not the method your history book dramatized. And here's another fun detail. A shocking number of people executed for witchcraft weren't witches. They were widows, herbalists, lonely women with land someone wanted, or poor people who happened to sneeze at the wrong time. And boom, now they're at a community barbecue. History was wild. Next lie. Medieval people thought bathing was unhealthy. Partially true and wildly misunderstood. People in the Middle Ages did bathe. Public bathhouses were a thing. The problem wasn't baths, it was water contamination and church paranoia. After the Black Death, some people believed hot baths opened your pores and let disease in more easily. So they didn't stop bathing because they were gross, they stopped because they were terrified. Which, fair. after watching half your village get deleted by a medieval USB virus, I'd probably start questioning water too. Next one. The Trojan horse definitely happened. Here's the thing. The only source for the Trojan horse is a poem by Homer, who lived hundreds of years after the supposed event. And even historians today debate whether the Trojan horse was a literal wooden structure or a metaphor for siege tactics or betrayal. Basically, it might not have been a horse. It might have been soldiers sneaking in. It might have been political propaganda, or just the most creative lie ever told to make the Greeks look cooler, which, let's be honest, they were obsessed with. Next lie. Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." She didn't. There's no evidence she ever said that. The quote appeared in writings years before she even reached France. She basically got blamed for a lie she never delivered, which honestly feels very modern. Getting dragged on the internet for something you literally didn't tweet. Queen behavior. Next one. Salem witches were burned. Nope, they were hanged. And one was pressed to death with stones, because apparently that's what happens when a town runs out of chill and legal sense at the same time. Next lie, ancient people were stupid. Absolutely not. They just had different tools. And honestly, they did insane things with what they had. The pyramids, precision. Roman roads, still surviving. Greek mathematics invented half the stuff you struggle to pass. Ancient people weren't dumb. They were just running life on software version 1.0 without the Wi-Fi. Next lie. George Washington had wooden teeth. Nope. He had dentures made from a mix of materials like metal, ivory, and even teeth from other humans, which is somehow way worse. Imagine getting headbutted by a president and hearing clanking. Next lie, the Dark Ages were dark and nothing happened. Actually, a lot happened. Science continued, philosophy continued, trade continued. The term Dark Ages was mostly given by Renaissance people trying to make themselves look cooler. Like calling the previous party lame, so yours seems legendary. Oh yeah, we're Renaissance. They were just darkness. Okay, bro. Calm down with your angled ceilings and weird pants. Next lie. Gladiators fought to the death all the time. Nope. They were expensive investments. Like pro athletes. Owners didn't want their star gladiator dying in every match. Death mainly came from special events or extreme cases. Most fights ended in survival, not fatality, which makes sense. Imagine losing your top moneymaker because he slipped on some sand. Unacceptable. Next lie, pirates buried treasure everywhere. Most pirates didn't bury treasure. They spent it, fast, on food, alcohol, women. Bribery, supplies. Maybe somebody buried treasure once, maybe, but not like in cartoons where the whole ocean floor is just pirate bank accounts. Next lie. Most people think Thanksgiving is just turkey, cranberry sauce, and awkward family dinners. But the holidays didn't start like that at all. Thanksgiving in the U.S. comes from a harvest feast in 1621 between English settlers, the Pilgrims, and the Wampanoag Native tribe in Plymouth, Massachusetts. The Pilgrims had just survived a brutal winter where more than half of them died. The Wampanoag helped them grow crops, hunt, and survive their first year. It was a 3-day gathering meant to celebrate survival and harvest. No national holiday, no parades, no football. Just a fragile moment of cooperation between two groups who didn't trust each other but needed each other. And here's the part they don't put on the classroom posters. The truce didn't last. Within a decade, it collapsed into territory disputes, betrayals, and violent conflict that nearly wiped out entire Native communities. Because, yeah, the first Thanksgiving was a peaceful, happy feast. Yeah, not quite. It happened, but it wasn't some cute Disney dinner. Conflict existed, tensions existed, and it sure wasn't the peaceful friendship fairy tale we were sold in kindergarten with hand turkeys and autumn leaves. Next one. Ancient soldiers all wore shiny armor. Most couldn't afford that. Armor was expensive. Most soldiers were wearing padded cloth, leather, maybe a helmet if they were lucky. Full suits of armor? That was for rich knights, nobles, and people with Instagram sponsor money. Next lie, the medieval diet was terrible. Actually, peasants often ate healthier than nobles. More vegetables, more whole grains, less processed junk. Meanwhile, rich people were eating massive meat feasts with sugar and wine until their organs filed resignation letters. Next lie. Women didn't do anything important in history. History books just didn't write about most of them. There were female warriors, scientists, rulers, inventors, assassins, political masterminds. But history was written mostly by men, so they edited the credits. Next one. The pyramids were built by slaves. Mainstream evidence now suggests many workers were paid, housed, and fed, not tortured slaves as commonly imagined. They were laborers. Yes, it was brutal, but not the chains and whips narrative people love. Next myth. Knights were all noble and honorable. Yeah, some were just medieval thugs with better PR. A lot of them robbed people, abused peasants, started unnecessary fights, and just had royal permission to be violent. Basically, armed influencers of the Middle Ages. And finally, not all history you learned was a lie. Some of it was just simplified so it would fit inside a 40-minute lesson before a lunch break. History is messy, complicated, political, and sometimes just straight up rewritten by whoever survived to publish it. So next time someone says, well, history says, ask them whose history, who wrote it, and who got edited out. Because history isn't always written by the victors. Sometimes it's written by whoever had the printer.